Playwright Anton Chekhov famously said, "Never place a loaded rifle on stage if it isn't going to go off." In other words, every detail must be relevant, and every setup should have a payoff. Thus, the narrative principle of Chekhov's gun was born. But it isn't always a gun. Chekhov's Whatever is a podcast where myself and guests watch a movie and try to predict what role Chekhov's gun will play. Welcome to Chekhov's Whatever. Hello and welcome to Chekhov's Whatever, the podcast that makes a game of movies and storytelling. I'm your host, Meg Mazeski. Here with me today to talk about the 2025 smash hit animated musical K-Pop Demon Hunters is Alexandra Permar. Welcome to the show, Alexandra.
Hi, Meg.
Hi. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
Alexandra, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I think perhaps one of the most relevant things I can mention right now is that I'm just kind of an anime nerd and a, Asian cinematic action kind of fan and, not necessarily a guru, but, an appreciator.
Asian media enjoyer.
Exactly. Yes.
That was one reason why I wanted to invite you to discuss this particular movie with me because, not to conflate Japanese anime with every single Asian animation style out there. Obviously, they're quite different. But seeing the trailer for K-Pop Demon Hunters, I felt that it shared a lot of sensibilities and a lot of the same DNA with certain types of anime, in particular magical girl anime. And I was a huge fan of Sailor Moon growing up. What's your magical girl anime pedigree, if any?
Honestly, so in terms of like the whole kind of magical girl concept, or really just kind of strong, enabled female protagonist, I really identify with like the Miyazaki works of art. I also identify with some of the hit shows that are also popular right now. For example, like Apothecary Diaries is one that I've been nerding out on. So I think that extends over to this particular work because this particular work also features female protagonists, 3 of them actually.
Yes.
Independent women who are capable and talented and just kind of, seizing the world. So
absolutely. I think that is definitely enough bona fides to talk about K-Pop Demon Hunters. As I mentioned, K-Pop Demon Hunters is a 2025 animated pop musical / action adventure kids film. It was created by Sony Pictures Animation specifically for Netflix. So that is where you can find this movie. The summary of the movie is as follows. When K-pop superstars Rumi, Mira, and Zoe aren't busy selling out stadiums, they're using their secret powers to protect their fans from ever-present supernatural danger. Together, they must face their biggest enemy yet, an irresistible rival boy band of demons in disguise. This movie stars Arden Cho, Mei Hong, Ji Young-yu, Ahn Hyo-seep, and Ken Jeong in speaking roles, and as the vocalist roles, those are performed by EJ, Audrey Nuna, Ray Ami, and Andrew Choi. This movie was written and directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Applehans. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, K-Pop Demon Hunters has a 95% critic score and an astounding 99% audience score. So we touched on this a little bit. You're a fan of the strong female protagonists. Did you have any other expectations going into this movie before you saw it?
Not a whole lot, actually.
Personally, I was very intrigued by the reception of it. I first heard about it because it had become so popular, not only among critics, but also among audiences. It turns out K-Pop Demon Hunters is the most watched Netflix movie of all time. Wow. And so there's a sequel in the works. And shortly after Netflix released the movie online to great reception, they then hosted sing-alongs in select movie theaters nationwide. Also, one of the songs from K-Pop Demon Hunters, Golden, has been #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for its 8th week. And at time of recording, earlier in this very week, the vocalists for the Huntrix girl group, they appeared live on Saturday Night Live, and they performed on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So even though this movie came out months and months ago, it seems like it hasn't really lost much steam really at all.
Well, I think there's no denying that the audio tracks created for this film are very catchy,
They're bangers.
very poppy, very
Yes.
danceable, right? So that's
Absolutely.
definitely going to, you know, contribute to the popularity of the film
Yes.
and extend the life of it. And, you know,
Do people still use the word bop? It was the real bop.
definitely it's a bop.
I definitely wouldn't qualify this movie as a spooky movie or a scary movie, but you know, it's got demons, and so I did want to release it in time for the Halloween season. Also because I think that listeners, you'll probably see a lot of little kids running around in K-pop Demon Hunter costumes this Halloween, I would have to assume.
I would definitely expect that. I
Yes.
agree 100%.
All right, but before we get into K-pop Demon Hunters, here's a quick overview of how Chekhov's Whatever works. This is a podcast where myself and the lovely guest watch and review a movie that's new to us. We also play a game where we try to guess what Chekhov's gun will be and how it will play out later in the movie. Chekhov's gun is a plot element that must have a setup and a payoff. That setup usually happens in Act 1, and the payoff typically comes later in Act 3. A Chekhov's gun is also typically a concrete item, action, or person rather than something symbolic or thematic. And finally, a Chekhov's gun should move the plot forward in a meaningful way. We get 2 points if we correctly identify a Chekhov's gun. We also get an additional point if we correctly guess how that Chekhov's gun will pay off. And finally, we lose 1 point if we incorrectly identify a Chekhov's gun and its role. Whoever has the most points at the end of the movie wins. K-pop Demon Hunters starts with an exposition dump in voiceover. We flash back to ancient Korea and learn that demons have always hunted humans, stealing their souls for their king Guima. But a trio of heroes arose to protect humankind, women warriors with magical voices that drove back the demons. With their music, these first hunters created a magical shield to protect the world called the Honmun. With every generation, a new trio of hunters is chosen to fulfill their duty, using their magical music to conjure the Honmun and keep humanity safe. I think this is a pretty clever setup for giving us heroes that have to use their magical singing voices for the sake of the plot.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, exposition can be cumbersome in a movie, especially when it's so much all at once. But that being said, this is a kids' movie. I think it does a good job of just laying the groundwork of being like, this is what you need to know. This is the world we're in. This is how it works. All right, let's get on with the action.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like they did that in basically the first 2 minutes.
Yes, it goes very quickly. You know, very economic storytelling, which I think is a real strength of this movie.
Yes.
We then meet our main characters, today's trio of hunters, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, voiced by Arden Cho, Mei Hong, and Ji Young-yoon, respectively. They are the members of a super popular K-pop girl group known as Huntrix. And like I said at the top of the episode, the singing voices are portrayed by EJ, Audrey Nuna, and Rei Ami. Do you have any sort of opinion about K-pop? Are you a K-pop listener in real life?
I would say not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think for a lot of K-pop, it is very similar and very analogous to American pop.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't listen to a whole lot of American pop either. But that being said, like, you know, like I had mentioned before, I think that the songs are definitely catchy, you
Very
know,
catchy.
and it's like kind of, there were moments in watching this movie where I could see myself doing a little dance in my own seat.
Absolutely.
So
I'm vaguely aware of some of the bigger names in K-pop, like Blackpink or BTS, but that's basically where my K-pop knowledge begins and ends.
Yes, and I would say the same. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm aware of some of the big names, but in terms of, you know, listening to it all the time and just loving it, it's a little bit different for me. So
We also get a little bit of background on each of our main characters. Zoe is the group's lyricist and rapper. She grew up in America. Mira is their choreographer and lead dancer. She's the bad girl of the group. And Rumi is the Beyonce to Huntrix's Destiny's Child. Her vocals are out of this world.
I love that description.
Oh, thank you. Rumi is also K-pop royalty. Her mother was a hunter and K-pop star who died tragically young. So Rumi was raised and trained by her mother's bandmate and fellow hunter, Celine.
Yeah, so I found that the introduction of Celine, when they showed her as a character, just visually, she really reminded me of characters in some other popular, like, Asian animated cinematic works, including the mother in Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, yes.
And she also visually reminds me of a character also from the Apothecary Diaries TV animated series, Surire. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And so I just wanted to say that I really noticed like a visual similarity across those characters.
That makes sense to me because I feel like this movie really is by the numbers in a lot of ways, and I don't necessarily mean that as a critique, but it follows these familiar patterns also with the characters. I feel like the characters are very archetypal. So we kind of know what to expect from each of these characters, including the mentor character like Celine. Also, if we're going to compare this movie to anime, usually when you have a group of magical girl teammates, you know, you have to have them differentiated by more extreme personalities, or it's like she's the fun one, Zoe, she's the grumpy one, Mira, you know, she's the leader, Rumi. So we do get this well-trodden ground of like familiar character concepts that they all fulfill.
Yeah, definitely.
But it works well, I think.
Yeah.
In this big opening scene, the girls are running late for their sold-out concert because their private jet has been hijacked by bumbling demons. The demons' patterns give them away. Patterns come back a lot in this movie. Basically, they are glowing marks on a person's skin that gives them away as a demon because they can disguise themselves to look fully human otherwise. We also get our first musical number with the song How It's Done. The girls defeat the demons and make a grand entrance at the concert, much to their fans' delight. The hunters then see traces of gold appear on the Honmoon as they perform. They know that they're getting close to creating the legendary golden Honmoon, which will seal the barrier against the demon world for good. I thought this was a really fun opening scene. I know that we had the moment of exposition before, but like you said, that went so quickly. This scene really feels like the opening scene to me. And I love when a movie starts kind of in media res and just like with a big punch, like bring you directly into the action. Very catchy song. I liked How It's Done. I thought it was a fun one.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And, you know, like one of the whole points of the film basically is to kind of captivate the audience into these musical performances, right? And so you can't help but feel like, you know, that first performance really is kind of pulling you into their world and to the plot and to, you know.
Yeah, it does a good job of being immersive. It does a good job of illustrating why these girls are so popular with their fans. And it also very economically introduces you to the characters and their dynamics with each other and their devotion to their fans, which is pretty important later in the movie. I also like, honestly, that we start with them already at the height of their popularity. So many movies would be tempted to show them, you know, find their legs and enjoy their first successes and become a group. So I think it's interesting that we start in a different chapter of the girl band's life.
Yeah. So in the moment when they're in the plane, you can't help but notice, of course, the emphasis on the ramen that they're eating. It is, you know, placed kind of front and center.
Yes, it does.
And at least 3 different frames. And it turns out that the ramen packages are named after the different
after the
characters,
girls.
the different girls in the girl band, right? So that would definitely mean that was a perfect setup, I think, for my first guess of Chekhov's ramen.
Excellent. I love it.
With, you know, kind of the guess or the anticipation that ramen somehow might come into play later in the film and be used as kind of like a weapon. Like maybe, you know, maybe they'll find a way to make a lot of it, you know, and like toss it at the demons or something.
Maybe it's too spicy for the demons.
Yeah. Maybe it's too spicy for them, too hot, or like, you know, just cover the demons in a bunch of noodles, you know. So
I do love a fun Chekhov's whatever.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, there was a limited release of actual ramen, cup ramen.
I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
I'm sure. It was just, you talk about product placement.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. They created the product. That's how popular they were.
Definitely. Yes. It was the perfect setup. It's like...
In our next scene, we then go to the demon world, and the demon Jinu has a proposition for the king demon Guima. Jinu is voiced by An Hyo-sip, and he is considerably dreamier than the other demons. He has a new plan to defeat Huntrix. He'll lead a demon boy band to steal away the Hunter's fans and their souls. In return, Jinu asks that he be freed of the memories that haunt him, and we see a glimpse of his mother and little sister crying. So this is the introduction to our dreamy antagonist.
Yeah. The introduction or presentation of Jinu, especially in the scene where they show him come out playing a 4-stringed guitar, which I'm sure has a distinctive name, and I apologize for not knowing that. But again, I feel like this, not only did this moment remind me of Kubo and the 2 strings, of course, and definitely very similar introduction of a lead male character. But it also, like with the introduction of the girl band and their main first song, you can't help but just be kind of taken with, this first presentation of Jinu, like, who is this character? Why is he playing this musical instrument? What is going to become of this, Yeah,
and it's also a good way to quickly illustrate that he is an old demon. Unlike our new Huntrix band, he hails from a different time, a different era, so that's why his clothing and his instrument are also older. It's a very good character introduction, absolutely. I also thought it was a funny scene. The demons are there for comic relief primarily. They were really funny. I liked how they bought into the boy band concept very readily.
Yeah. And with the introduction of Jinu and his 4-string guitar, I have to say that was another Chekhov's guess for me.
Excellent.
Chekhov's 4-string guitar.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't have the correct name for the instrument.
That's
okay. With the guess that he might use that instrument some way in, some magical demon fighting way. Like, even though he is a demon, maybe he'll use it later to fight against another demon, or maybe he'll use it as a weapon against, of course, the gals and the girl band.
Yes.
That it will be kind of, potentially an integral instrument and kind of an integral means to.
Yes. Excellent. I love it. Meanwhile, the girls are celebrating the successful finale of their world tour and the fortification of the honeymoon. Back at their penthouse, Rumi coughs but assures the other girls that it's nothing. I want to point this out. I'm not going to call it Chekhov's cough, although I was tempted. But this is sort of what I'd call a sister trope to Chekhov's gun. It's foreshadowing, which is often very similar to Chekhov's gun, but also different. So show me a movie where someone coughing doesn't portend something horrible.
Yeah, totally.
That there's got to be a reason why Rumi is coughing.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find out soon.
Yeah, especially for her role as the lead singer
yes.
of the band, right?
Mira and Zoe can't wait for their break following the world tour, but Rumi decides it's time to release their new single to try to literally seal the deal on the honeymoon.
I have to say that at this particular moment in the movie, I just thought it was a bit like kind of the whole timing of events was definitely kind of stilted and awkward because, as you said, the whole band of 3 girls seemed like they were very excited for a 2-week break.
Yes.
After the conclusion of their musical performance, they were definitely on a high in terms of their success, of their ratings, of their popularity. And, they immediately return to their shared apartment, kind of get into some comfy robes, just literally sit down on the couch.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, Rumi shocks everyone.
Wearing her new costume.
Yes.
Couch.
Yeah. And, you as someone who's watching the movie is kind of like, what?
It is all kind of a very accelerated timeline, which I think works well for me in the end, just because I feel like a movie more often should be edited more to be like faster paced and like more economic. So even if it did lean maybe a little too far the other direction, I was like, oh, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And I ended up deciding I was okay with it too, because they do subsequently explain why she did push up the launch of Golden. True. But it did also, like, in the moment, for me, just feel a little bit forced.
Yeah, that's
it's just
true.
kind of like, wow, this really is not making any sense. Maybe these gals have some communication problems.
Maybe they do. Yeah. Yes, so as you said, Rumi is very anxious to try to seal the honeymoon, so they release Golden, their instant #1 hit, and they promo their upcoming live premiere. During rehearsal, Rumi's cough returns, of course. She simply can't hit the high notes. In private, she takes off her coat, and we see that she has demon patterns, which she has been hiding from Huntrix this whole time. Dun dun dun. The demon part of her seems to be stealing her voice, and Rumi runs away. In flashback, we learn that Rumi's father was a demon, making Rumi part demon herself. Celine tells young Rumi in flashback to cover up her patterns and assures her the patterns will disappear once the honeymoon is sealed. Until then, Celine insists that Rumi must keep her patterns secret from Mira and Zoe because they would never understand. You mentioned communication problems. Yeah, so Rumi definitely takes this to heart. It seems like she has not said anything to the other girls about this at all. It's her very closely held secret.
Yeah. You know, on the one hand, of course, like, introducing us to a little bit of her backstory, you know, helps us, the spectators of this film, you know, become a little bit closer, right,
yes.
to Rumi, and to feel like, okay, we identify a little bit more with her character, with her sentiments, with the importance and the significance of why she is so focused on, you know, fighting against the demons.
Yeah, we see what's at stake for her. It's the part of herself that she's most ashamed about and is trying to keep secret. And also, that's yet another reason why she really wants to seal the honeymoon, because she does believe that that will get rid of her demon self, that she'll be free of it. The girls are forced to reschedule their live performance, but Mira and Zoe are completely supportive of Rumi. They offer to help her find a remedy for her ailing voice in time for their big show at the Idol Awards. They then go out to find a special tonic to fix Rumi's voice.
So this whole visit to the herbalist, I just found it to be very entertaining. Of course. You know, it definitely adds a lot of humor to the film, which I really much appreciate. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously we have, you know, the exchange and the rapport between the herbalist and, you know, the three women of the girl band as well. And, you know, the herbalist kind of like closely eyeing each individual one, trying to like read into her soul and kind of, you know, psychoanalyze her in real time, right? Mm-hmm. And the reactions, you know, how that goes with each individual character. And I just love that. I love that addition of humorous element. And further, I love what happens in the street outside.
Yes. Yes. This is a great scene overall. The herbalist is very funny. Mm-hmm. I find often in kids' movies, sometimes the humor just really doesn't resonate with adults at all. Mm-hmm. But I found this movie overall to be pretty funny, and most of the jokes landed for me. And even just the silly, more sort of slapstick jokes where, you know, the herbalist's eyes get all like huge when he's literally peering into their souls. And it struck me as rather funny. And also it's pretty clear to the audience that, you know, he's a bit of a shyster. He's a bit of a snake oil salesman, which the girls also soon discover that the tonics are just grape juice.
It's just so sad, right? It's so sad. It's like, oh, you wanted to believe. I wanted to believe.
Indeed, yes. But, you know, maybe he did provide some helpful insight to them about their personalities, even if the tonic didn't work. But yes, after retrieving the tonic, the girls run into their new rivals, the Saja boys, the demon boy band. Mira and Zoe are completely smitten by the boys' hotness, no matter how much they try to deny it, and Rumi literally falls for the leader of the boy band, Jinu.
This, like, I'm just laughing, even just reminiscing on this. This is definitely one of the funniest moments for me in the whole film, with the, you know, the group of 5 of the boys are walking down the street, and of course, just like with the women, you know, that each one has kind of a distinctive persona. Mm-hmm. Each male male has, you know, a funky haircut.
Yes.
One of them has a hairdo that completely covers his face.
Yes.
You know, one of them is, and so let's just go ahead and focus, of course, on the, you know, tall,
Abby.
muscly Abby hunk, right?
The one with the abs.
And so he's literally walking down the street and starts stretching, and of course his shirt starts popping open.
The buttons
just
when he
pop
flexes.
off, and they kind of transform into these popcorn kernels. And the Zoe and Mira are, like you said, totally smitten with this.
Yes.
And their eyes become filled with like corn cobs that, you know, start popping corn kernels. And it's just hilarious. I just couldn't help but laugh. It's awesome.
This scene really makes full use of it being an animated feature.
Yes,
They're like, let's have the eyes turn into corn cobs. Let's have the corn cobs have melted butter and pop with popcorn. They really took full advantage of the visual gags in a very good way, I felt.
And have the muscles do things that are humanly impossible.
Yes. Exactly. I also felt like this was a very authentic representation of young women, you know.
Yes.
It's like, this is very believable that girls would, you know, go gaga for a hot boy and then try to play it off like they weren't. And also I appreciated that they had Rumi's back when Jinu like literally brushes her off and doesn't help her off the ground when she trips.
That was so rude.
It
was so purposeful and so rude. He totally just walked right into her and made her fall on the ground. I was like,
and the other girls
not the way.
Instantly are like, screw him, screw that guy, you know. They're like, who cares how hot he is? He disrespected our girl, you know. So
exactly,
girl solidarity. I appreciate that as well.
And then the poor Rumi is sitting there thinking, oh, he's gonna reach out his hand to help me up. It was a total accident. And he's like, psych.
So good. Definitely up there with like some of the best meet cutes just in general.
Definitely.
The Saja boys then give an impromptu live performance of Soda Pop and win over a new gaggle of fans, including a bunch of aunties.
My little soda pop.
It's incredibly catchy.
Yeah, I'm dancing right now. I just can't help myself.
Shoulders are going up and down like the girls are, you know? But the girls are able to see through the Saja boys' catchy song, they're a demon boy band, and they vow to take them down.
I think it also helps that their demon marks are kind of, you know.
Yes, the patterns show a little bit.
Iridescently.
Yes, very pretty, iridescent, opalescent.
During the performance. That's a little bit of a hint.
I guess it's a good thing the general public doesn't know about all the, you know, demon stuff going on, because they definitely would have clocked that immediately, I would have thought.
I know. It's just, you know, emphasized Vaynation, right?
Yeah. Oh, what you were saying about how all the five boys have a different, distinct look, that reminded me, like I said, I don't know much about real life K-pop, but I do know that often in the boy bands, they do have like a persona. Like, he's the cutesy one, he's the mysterious one, he's the sexy one, he's the rapper, you know. So I think that the movie, as far as my understanding of K-pop goes, does a good job of creating this realistic-ish fictional boy band.
Oh, I completely agree. And I think, you know, for you and me, of course, we're familiar with other groups like the Backstreet Boys, for example, right? And NSYNC, right? Going way back.
Yes.
And you see that in those groups too, you know. They definitely, they definitely try to, you know, kind of assign, you know, the different... Each guy has his own persona and will appeal to a lady or someone of a certain type.
I was all about JC on NSYNC. I'm like, JC is the one I like. Absolutely.
Yeah. There you go. Case in point.
Yes. The girls try to get a drop on the Saja boys after their appearance on a variety show, but they get dragged into the ridiculous on-air games themselves. The Saja boys manage to give Huntrix the slip after the show, and they flee into a bathhouse, unleashing a horde of water demons on the girls. Rumi breaks off to run down Jinu. He glimpses her demon patterns, but helps her cover them up before Mira and Zoe can see them.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really interesting scene too. That was definitely, of course, different from the first introduction of Gino knocking Rumi onto the ground, literally, right?
Yeah, so they have this rivalry going on, and, just a moment ago, she was all set to slay him. But once he helps her keep her secret, this, something, a switch flips and she starts seeing him in a different way, perhaps.
Yeah.
They defeat the water demons, but the Honmun is visibly weakening, and the Saja boys are only gaining in popularity. The girls vow to win back their fans and take down the Saja boys for good at the Idol Awards. How? They're going to create the diss track to end all diss tracks. Alone in her room, Rumi meets a six-eyed bird wearing a tiny hat and a magical blue bug-eyed tiger. This is my first guess for a Chekhov's gun. I have Chekhov's flower pot. So
nice. I like that. Okay.
When she meets the blue tiger, he is, he's a magical tiger, and he is sort of phasing through the ground, and he knocks over a flower pot, and then he becomes totally fixated on trying to right this flower pot with his large paw. So he keeps pawing at it, and it keeps just falling over and falling over and falling over. And eventually Ruby just has to move it aside for him.
Yeah.
It's very funny and very cute. So my prediction for Chekhov's flower pot, I think at some point later in the movie, Rumi will use some sort of flower pot adjacent distraction, something flower pot shaped, or maybe even a flower pot itself. She'll use that because she'll know that the blue tiger will go after it, and this will help her in some way in a demon fight.
I love that. I love that prediction. That is so creative. I support that guess.
Thank you.
I also can, just add a little bit if you want about the fact that I think these characters are, again, kind of hilarious and, clearly peculiar, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the cynical part of me says clearly made for merchandise, but
yes.
I guess I will let it
cosplay.
pass. And cosplay. Something I thought was kind of funny, they never say the names of these characters in the movie itself, but apparently the bird is named Sussy, as in suspicious.
Oh, interesting.
Because he's very suspicious with his little hat, and then the blue tiger is named Derpy.
Okay, cool. Well, yes, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I couldn't help but also notice and appreciate that it's later revealed, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything, that Gino designed the hat for the pigeon.
Yes.
And he also has some hats for himself that look very similar, and you can't help but feel like there's a resemblance to this pilgrim hat kind of theme, which again is, I think just kind of makes me laugh on the inside, to see that juxtaposition between, kind of this idea of an American pilgrim and, this world of the K-pop bands and stuff. It's just kind of where did this come from? This is really creative, right? So
I certainly feel like I'm in new territory when it comes to, K-pop fandom.
Yeah.
Yes, he made the hat for the tiger, but the bird keeps stealing it.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
The blue tiger comes bearing an invitation from Gino to Rumi, and she goes to meet him. Gino confronts her about her patterns and explains how he came to be a demon himself. He sold his soul to Guima in exchange for musical talent that saved his family from poverty for a time, until he was condemned to the demon world and his mother and sister were back on the streets. He failed them, and he can't escape the shame. He tells Rumi that he's the only one who can understand her and that her friends never will. Rumi insists that she hates him and all demons, but we see that she is conflicted and she doesn't really mean it.
Okay, so I also just want to add in, again, kind of a shout out to Rumi and her mad parkour skills.
Oh, yes.
when she is approaching the roof meeting scene, as far as I recall. But yeah, I thought this was really interesting. You know, again, as you mentioned, the film is fast paced, right?
Yes.
So this is kind of, you know, we're advancing pretty quickly,
absolutely,
you know, through the relationship of these two people, and now they're having some very, you know, a very deep heart to heart, right? Yes. I like it. I think it works. You know, I think it, again, like adds a lot of context for us in terms of, you know, understanding the story and relating to the characters. And I also appreciate the humorous comment about, you know, Rumi's jammy pants that she's wearing and
the little choo-choo train pants. Yes.
So yeah, anyway.
Something a little unexpected that I did appreciate about this movie is that it would have been really simple and really easy to have this sort of Romeo and Juliet relationship. She's a demon hunter and he's a demon, but oh no, they love each other. So making her also part demon, I think, is a far more interesting angle to approach the relationship from. It still has that dynamic of forbidden love, I suppose, but it has the additional, I think, more interesting dynamic of him being like, hey, I understand, and I understand in a way that no one else in your life can understand. So I appreciated that about it.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, you mentioned the comparison to Romeo and Juliet, right? And it's like, hey, guess what? My house is messed up too. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I totally get you, girl. I can relate.
Rumi by any other name.
I love that.
The girls workshop their diss track Takedown over a montage of demon hunting and chart topping by the Saja Boys.
Yeah, so this is a part where I have another Chekhov's guess.
Yes.
For Chekhov's demon fighting song. I have to admit, I felt a little bit guilty or kind of like self-conscious about making this particular guess because on the one hand, it's, you know, the whole premise of the film, right, is that the band of three women, they are excellent singers, they're pop stars, they're famous, and they also use opportunity for their concerts to kind of draw out demons who are interested in attacking them and to, you know, destroy them, right? And so it's almost like made me wonder, okay, are they already kind of just creating these songs themselves to be weapons against the demons? Or are the songs just an opportunity, really, to kind of lure out and attract demons and then use them as an opportunity to kill them? I feel like it was generally presented as the latter overall in the film. And so, therefore, I felt like, you know, still justified in saying, hey, guess what? Here's a guess for an actual demon fighting song. Okay. And this Chekhov's demon fighting song will manifest itself in literally like a force in its own right. Okay. So it's kind of going to become this magical tool, you know, that once sung is, you know, has enough energetic force to just kind of like overpower, you know, the demons in the end. And so that was a guess of mine. So
I think that's a very good guess. And I think it's very in line thematically with the movie. Absolutely. So the Saja Boys are definitely getting on Huntrix's last nerves, especially when they crash a Huntrix fan event and share a signing table with the girls. Okay.
During this event, I had another Chekhov's guess, which was there was kind of like, you know, you felt like the camera was kind of zooming in on the pens that they used for the signing event. And it's almost like, you know, makes you think back to the times of like magical ink or something when you were a kid, right? And so you're kind of, you know, I couldn't help but wonder. And I was like, well, I realize this is a stretch. But the whole point is to make guesses and have fun.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I am going to write down, this is what I was thinking to myself, I'm going to write down Chekhov's signature pens for the fans or idols. And maybe, like the ramen, it will be revealed that they're like some very useful tool in some way or another.
I feel like you could definitely take out a demon with a pen.
I'm like, this could be, you know, a pen with a lot of ink. Or there could be 100,000 pens, you know. These pop stars, they have a lot of pens, you know?
Absolutely.
Or the ink itself, you know, is somehow like burns the demons, like it's caustic to them or something. I don't know. So
I mean, I have to thank you because this segues perfectly into me plugging another episode of my podcast, which is the Carry On episode featuring Chekhov's Tide pen.
Nice.
I will say no more.
Yes.
I'll just encourage everyone to listen to it.
Awesome.
So not only are the Saja boys getting more popular, but they're also strengthening Guima by stealing more souls.
Guima looks so much, of course, so reminiscent of Calcifer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just have to state it because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just couldn't help but, you know, like the giant talking flame shaped like a mouth.
Yes, listener, if you haven't seen the movie, he's a big pink purple flame thing.
Yeah, and importantly, he sounds like Batman.
He has a very deep, gravelly gravitas voice, absolutely.
Yeah, a Calcifer Batman.
I guess if you're nothing but a voice, it better be pretty impressive.
I mean, Batman's got a good voice.
That's true.
So I don't have a problem with the Batman voice.
No, absolutely not. Struggling with her part demon identity and newfound feelings for Jinu, Rumi starts to second-guess the hateful lyrics of the diss track and rewrites them on her own. Mira is pissed that Rumi would want to change their lyrics, but more than that, she suspects that Rumi is hiding something from her. Rumi lies and swears that she's not. This scene does have a bit of a callback to the flower pot. The blue tiger is hiding in Rumi's room.
Yeah.
And Rumi doesn't want Mira to see said blue tiger.
Yeah.
He starts to sink into the floor magically, but then he's distracted by a flower pot shaped trash can.
Yes. Yeah.
And almost reveals himself to Mira, but he ends up getting away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rumi meets with Jinu again. She has a proposal for him. Help Huntrix win the Idol Awards so they can seal the honeymoon forever and he'll be free from Guima's control. Pretty interesting. He doesn't agree to it, but it seems like he is at least thinking it over.
Yeah. And so this is the scene, right, where, you know, again, they're kind of like meeting secretly, you know, and just getting to know each other a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. During their next rehearsal, Rumi is still not feeling the lyrics to Take Down and confesses that she doesn't think she can perform the song. Mira confronts Rumi and they argue, while also fighting off a huge horde of demons. Things are obviously tense between the girls, but they know they can only seal the honeymoon if they do it together as a team.
The good news is like in every fight scene, I feel like there's just no contest. Like they win, even
That's
when there's
true.
like 1,000 demons.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, it's just kind of consistent with reinforcing that message that these are strong, capable women that, you know, they got it going on, right?
Yes.
Like they got their stuff together. They, you know, can deal with the world as it is, right? And
Yeah.
I do think that I don't know. I think that is helpful to have some of those fighting scenes in the movie just to kind of like reiterate that point and just kind of, you know, be consistent with the overall the storyline and how the women were introduced from the very beginning. So.
Yeah, it shows that they're competent. I think that it did a good job of balancing, you know, silly antics with them being also fearsome hunters. And I do think that's important in a kid's movie. I think having levity and silliness and goofiness is a pretty important part of a kid's movie. And honestly, I think it's missing from a lot of kids' movies. So I appreciated, you know, that you could have the girls being all excited about eating snacks on the couch at one moment. And then in the next moment, they are kicking ass against a bunch of demons.
Yeah. And even though the fight scenes themselves are never really, honestly, I feel like a central element or a central focal point of the movie as a whole, really, or at least most of them, I should say, not all of them, but you know, a lot of them are just kind of very short and brief and just kind of something that, oh, it just happens that we got attacked by demons on the subway ride home, you know. But I do feel like it is helpful to just have those elements in there, to have the contrast, you know, between the singing and between the happy-go-lucky and you know moments, and then of course, you know, the fighting and the, you know.
And in this particular fight scene, we are raising the stakes a little bit. Even though they do win pretty handily, it is a large group of demons, and the demons do steal away several of the passengers on the train before the girls are able to rescue them. So it does move the plot along as well as being like, oh, Guima's getting more powerful, so they got to do something to stop him.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
So Rumi and Jinu meet again. She reveals that she has regained her voice and her sense of self after opening up to him. They then share a moment and a little duet called Free. This is their little song moment. Maybe because it's a kid's movie, they don't kiss. I was like, isn't this the part where you guys are supposed to kiss? I don't know.
They do seem quite smitten with each other.
Yes.
But I have to say, and I apologize for being like a voice of skepticism here, but I have to say that overall this scene where they're kind of, you know, what, they start floating, flying,
yes.
something like that. And I just felt like the CGI was really kind of like stilted and blocky in this scene. And it was like everything had kind of like very like right angle type of feel to it.
Yes.
Like they start floating and they're kind of like, you know, standing parallel, like flush with each other. And then all of a sudden they turn at these strong right angles to like face each other. And then they keep floating up into the sky. And it was just kind of, just the animation style made it, you know, less captivating, less believable for me. I didn't find myself being as caught up in this moment as I kind of wish that I was, because I do think that, you know, some of the words that Rumi said to Jinu about, you know, no one gets to decide if you feel hope, the choice is up to you, and just kind of being a positive voice and trying to sound encouraging. Like he has more control over his destiny than he thinks he does. I love that. I love that, those messages of positivity, but the whole scene was just like awkward for me. a little bit forced, a little bit awkward, not animated as artfully as I think it could have been. So.
I think that's a fair point. Overall, I was very impressed with the animation style of the movie. I found it to be very visually appealing, and I enjoyed having my eyeballs on the screen for an hour and a half. But my critique of the animation did come during song moments, this one included. I felt like the facial expressions weren't expressive enough in many of the singing moments, because if you watch actual live singers and live performers, they make the craziest faces when they're hitting high notes and just really belting it out and really expressing themselves. And to have these rather sedately animated faces, I didn't get the impression that they were actually singing. So that did take me out of this scene a little bit as well. And some other scenes. Even the final big finale song could have had a little bit more emotional impact for me if I saw it in the character's face more.
I completely agree with you. And actually hearing you say that reminds me that I had a similar thought as well during the film. And I think you're bringing up an excellent point, you know, and you're right. Real people, you know, have to gesticulate a lot while they're singing and performing. Part of it is for the art form and the dance, but part of it is literally having to physically contort and move your body in order to hit high notes, like you said, or to hit, you know, to really cover an expressive musical range that is, you know, that's part of the performance and part of the song. So
yeah, you said physical. Singing there's a lot of physicality to it, and having these nice, smooth, sometimes expressionless animation, it didn't quite sell the singing aspect of it. Yeah. Jinu promises Rumi that he and the Saja boys will help Huntrix win the awards, but then he's pulled back to the demon world by Guima and reminded of their deal. Meanwhile, Rumi apologizes to the girls. They all have a heart-to-heart and agree that Takedown isn't the right song to win back their fans. After making up, they resolve to stay true to themselves and win the Idol Awards with their hit song, Golden.
I like this part. I think it's good. You know, I think it's consistent with, you know, just kind of who I am. And I think that's, you know, I'm sure that's why I like it. But you know, just the fact that Rumi is, you know, trying to emphasize performing a positive song, a song with a positive message as compared to, you know, a negative one.
Yeah, Zoe says something along the lines of, how could this song bring our fans together when it can't even bring us together? I thought that was a really great, succinct way of saying what you were saying. Like, they're not being true to themselves. they should be positive because that's why their fans like them. Their fans aren't there to hear a diss track.
Yeah.
There's a small detail in this scene that I liked a lot, which is that the girls aren't wearing makeup, which is a funny thing to say for an animated movie because it's like, well, their 3D models probably always have makeup on or different makeup, but in this scene it's very clear that they're not wearing makeup. There's no lipstick, there's no eyeliner, and I just appreciated that. I'm like, yeah, if you're just waking up in your penthouse, which it seems like that's what happened.
Oh yes, in my penthouse. I got you. Yeah, don't have my makeup on yet.
Yeah.
I can totally relate.
So it's the Idol Awards, and the girls are knocking it out of the park with Golden. But in the middle of Rumi's performance, right when it looks like the honeymoon is about to be sealed, there's a record scratch and Takedown starts playing. I had to laugh a little bit at this performance of Golden at the awards because she's doing all these aerial tricks on a hoop. And I was just like, who does she think she is? Pink?
Yeah, no, truly.
Like,
That's a really good point.
This is Pink's shtick.
Yep.
So Takedown starts playing and Rumi is confused, but she sings along. Unbeknownst to her, Zoe and Mira have been replaced by demons. And Demon Zoe and Mira tear off her costume, revealing her demon patterns.
It's such a scary moment.
Yeah.
It makes me feel so nervous for Rumi.
It's impactful because in that moment, Rumi doesn't know that they're demons that have replaced her friends. And she thinks that her friends have literally turned on her. She does, figure out pretty soon that it's not the real Zoe and Mira. But even in that moment, you can tell that she's scared, and even more so scared that now her secret has been revealed to everyone.
Just to add to that, I mean, I do think, even though, this scene obviously made me feel scared for Rumi, scared for her, like her physical safety. You don't want, of course, demons impersonating her two friends and to win in the end and such. But at the same time, plot wise, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that it is consistent with, developing and advancing the plot forward and, helping us, really engage with the characters and identify with Rumi and just literally feel that sense of kind of like concern for her and urgency in the sense of, needing to kind of eliminate the demons before, the chance is too late. Right. That
Absolutely.
kind of thing. So, yeah.
Especially after the moment where they came so close to sealing the honeymoon and then it just all comes crashing down.
Yeah.
The real Zoe and Mira look on shocked as Rumi flees backstage. Betrayed and wounded by Rumi's lies, Zoe and Mira reluctantly raise their weapons against her. Rumi runs to Jinu for answers. He says they can't escape who they are. They're evil demons and they're condemned to a life of misery, which he feels he deserves for leaving his family behind. Defeated, Rumi walks off alone. Huntrix loses the Idol Awards to the Saja boys. The honeymoon is being torn apart, and Zoe and Mira start succumbing to their own inner demons, figuratively speaking.
Yeah.
This is what they call in screenwriting the dark night of the soul. So this is when all hope seems lost, all the characters are at their lowest. But fortunately, as we know from watching a movie or two in our lifetime, that it only goes up from here, right?
Let's hope so.
Yes.
So this sort of segues into like how the dissolution of the honeymoon, the breaking down of the barrier between the demon world and the human or non-demon world, which I don't think is 100% human because of all the magic in it, but
right, the magical singing and all that.
A lot of the characters in the audience, including of course the characters that are front and center in the female vocal group, and Jinu and stuff, it starts showing them like basically becoming consumed with negative thoughts and consumed with negative voices. And it's the way it's, I think, kind of presented is that that Guima is, basically kind of like affecting everyone in all the audience members, all the people who, all the singers, everyone basically in the world with his negative mentality, with his negative messages. And it really is gaining purchase. It really is, like a sign that he's winning, basically, that the demon force is overtaking any sort of good that's left in the world.
Yeah,
so,
definitely the all hope seems lost moment. Rumi then confronts her mentor, Celine, furious that she was raised to believe that she was a mistake. Celine still can't accept Rumi's true self, and Rumi seemingly does a heel turn to the dark side, or not. I do have a problem with this scene because it just kind of seemed to go nowhere. She implied in a way that she, was going to join the dark side. She's like, well, if this is how the world is, then I'm glad the Honmun is being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But then this lasts for, I don't know, a hot second, less than a hot second, So I'm like, why did we even bother with that? I strongly, strongly suspect that there was a deleted scene here.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, the scene was not very effective for me. And also because this is the last we see of Celine. Mm-hmm. So Celine never gets any sort of redemption as a character. The last we see of her is that she can't accept Rumi. She does think Rumi is a mistake. She's trying to convince Rumi to keep hiding. Mm-hmm. So it felt like a bit of a dropped ball for me personally.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think for me, I do think having this extra scene in there did add a little bit more context and understanding for me because there is a difference of perspective between Celine and Rumi in terms of, who Rumi is, literally, genetically, physically, what she's made up of. She's literally half demon, right? And for me, I totally understand the critique, of course, of, the scene itself and how it played out and things like that. But for me, I think it did help communicate that there is a sense of shame that Celine feels for who Rumi is, which I feel like at the other, very brief moments, of course, when they have backflashes to other instances, other conversations between Celine and Rumi and other parts of the film, that sense of shame is not necessarily quite, communicated. So in that sense, I think it was helpful for understanding.
I'm glad it worked for you.
But I also get what you're saying, of course, about, this is the last time that we really see Celine and it's kind of ending on a negative presentation of her and her perspective of Rumi. And it's maybe they will resolve that in a second movie.
Yeah, there is a sequel in the works for sure. The Saja Boys then lure a huge crowd to their ultimate performance to steal their souls. Even Zoe and Mira fall under their spell. This is when they perform Your Idol, wearing their more archaic costumes and kind of going full mask off. They definitely look like demons now.
Yeah, definitely.
Really fun song, I thought.
With those black costumes and those pilgrim hats.
Rumi interrupts the performance with, "This is what it sounds like." She embraces the truth of who she is, patterns and all. Her singing breaks through the trance that had trapped Zoe and Mira, and they join her in harmony, reunited and stronger than ever together.
The visuals during this scene, I thought, there was a lot of stuff that was communicated visually in terms of color theory that was kind of consistent in this scene, and I felt was just very visually communicative and visually powerful. So, for example, many times in the movie, for a majority of the movie, for example, those red contour lines, those contour lines that are present and flashing throughout different scenes in the film that basically represent the energy of the Honmun, the energy of the barrier between the demon world and this other world. They're not always red, but in instances where it's kind of signifying that the evil is gaining strength and the evil presence is strengthening, right? They're red, right? Yes. Red is a color of power, a color associated with evil. And I like that in this particular scene that we're discussing now, when Rumi is fighting back with her strong energy and they're kind of united, the gals are united together in their force, that literally the color of the contour lines change. And they change to kind of an iridescent rainbow color. Yeah. And that's also consistent with the lines on Rumi's body. They're supposed to represent her demon form and her energy. A lot of times for the majority of the film, they're kind of this dark purplish color. And they even change to kind of this rainbow iridescence and stuff. And so I think, I just really appreciate those aspects of the film and how they're consistent with the women reestablishing the force of good over evil,
Yes.
that kind of concept, which is, a central concept to this film, and a central concept to the idea that, they can conquer over this, this dark demon force.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of visual language in this movie, as you were saying, and a lot of color language. And even before, when the girls were strengthening the Honmun and bolstering goodness in the world, before those contour lines would turn golden. But now we have something even beyond golden. Like you said, it's that pearlescent, opalescent, iridescent, beautiful rainbow colors. So we just get a visual cue from the animation and from the movie that they're finally doing it. They're finally together and really embracing and trusting themselves and embracing their full true selves. So yeah, I think the movie has a lot of strengths visually, including the color theory. Absolutely. But despite the band being back together, Rumi is overpowered by an energy blast from Guima. Right when it looks like lights out for Rumi, Jinu sacrifices himself and protects her from the blast. Jinu says that Rumi gave him his soul back and now he's giving it to her in the form of a sick-ass energy sword.
Yes. I need one of those.
Yeah. He then dissolves away, also without kissing. Boo.
I know, it's so tragic. Oh my god.
I was like, your faces are so close together. This is definitely the part where you kiss, but no.
This is kind of the moment the dude is dying for you.
Right.
Now or never.
So as expected, Jinu does get his redemption arc, which I think I can safely say we saw coming, but it's still appreciated, even if it was pretty obvious that he would get his heroic sacrificial moment.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of sequels, maybe he'll come back in the
I
sequel.
hope so, because you can't help but wonder. I just feel so sad.
His cleansed soul went somewhere else, and then he gets to come back.
And he'll still be hot when he returns.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, it's essential for the plot to continue.
It is.
Right?
It absolutely is. With the power of their fans singing along, Huntrix is able to defeat the Saja boys and Guima, sealing the Honmun for good. The movie ends with the girls enjoying a well-deserved but short vacation before they jump back into the music scene for the fans. The end.
Can't take a break for too long.
No couch for Mira and Zoe.
They are successful businesswomen, so
That's true.
Can't disappoint the fans.
No, absolutely not. So yeah, that's going to do it for K-pop Demon Hunters. What were your overall impressions of this movie? Did you like it? Did you think it was just okay? What did you think?
I would say that compared to my list of favorite movies of all time, this is not at the top.
Sure.
It's not at the top of the list for me. There are things that I would recommend to be edited about it for sure. But
yes.
I did enjoy it. I found it entertaining. I found it definitely better than C-class movies and such, so I would not give it a terribly low rating, but I would probably not give it a rating that is as high as some of the accolade that you summarized at the beginning of our episode here. So
I think that really encapsulates a lot of what I feel. And speaking specifically about the hype surrounding it, I heard from a lot of adults that it was a really good movie, and I thought, well, isn't this a kids movie? And then I heard from people it's a kids movie technically, but it's great for adults too. And I don't know if I would entirely agree with that assessment. Right. I would say it's a well done kids movie. It's maybe a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit more mature perhaps than, I don't know, let's say your average DreamWorks movie or what have you, but it's a kids movie at the end of the day is what I would say. Very simplistic moralizing, very simplistic messaging. But I think that that's effective for its audience, which is, in fact, children.
And young adults, I think. I would add to that.
True.
The
20s.
And, the tweens, the 20s, I would definitely add, that user base to the target audience for the film for sure. And I think you give it a very fair, assessment, a very fair summary overall.
As I said a little bit before, this movie really covers well-trodden ground. There's not a lot of surprises to the story itself. The main message of be true to yourself and, embrace the power of friendship. We see this in all sorts of media for pretty much as long as media and movies has existed, right? So no surprises there. But what it did bring new to the table is the setting. Like, how many American children have seen a movie set in Seoul, South Korea, right? Mm-hmm. Or how many children have heard Korean music or seen one of those 4-stringed instruments? Mm-hmm. I think that that's always good to expose kids to something new, and even just to switch up the setting. That did lend a bit of freshness to the movie that I appreciated and enjoyed.
Yeah, I think you touch upon some good points. Consistent with me critiquing the film, though, I would say that it could have gone very much farther in that direction. So being someone who, my whole life really has just been kind of intrigued with, different Asian cultures and studied Asian languages, and I continue to study Asian languages today. I have some level of familiarity with kind of the spectrum of, how Asian culture can be incorporated into different forms of media. So like into books, into movies, into shows, things like that. And I feel like I did find myself disappointed, honestly, for this movie being literally called K-Pop Demon Hunters, emphasizing the K-pop part, right? That it didn't do more in that regard to really incorporate cultural elements that are unique to Korean culture into this film and into the plot. I feel like it was it was very simple characters. I feel like the characters did fill a lot of stereotypes,
yes,
but physically, with their physical presentation, obviously all the women are pencil thin and
true, yes.
Things like that, but then also just culturally as well. So
speaking of the character's appearance, and you said at the top of the episode that you do tend to like media where there's strong female protagonists, and there was such a long span of time in recent history where strong female protagonist often meant a masculine female protagonist, like only strong, only kick ass.
Right.
This is what makes a female character quote unquote strong. So
yeah,
I did appreciate that this movie, yes, did have physically, literally strong female characters, but still allowed them to not only be feminine but girly. Like,
totally.
They act like young girls, and I liked that too. I'm like, yes, we can still have feminine characters that can also fulfill the action hero role, especially in a movie like this where it's so fantastical anyway, where it's like, yes, it is believable in this magical world that this tiny pencil thin girl can kick a giant demon's ass. It's like, that's fine by me. I buy it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you just said, and when I use the term strong, I don't mean like, oh, no, you have to be of a certain physique, or you have to be like angry, or you have to be intimidating. That's not what I mean. It's just, kind of having a strong central core, having self-confidence, being able to believe in yourself and know that you're physically and mentally capable of dealing with, the forces that you encounter in the world, which for these characters in this film turns out to be a lot of really scary demons.
Yes.
But also occasionally the rude guy, right?
Yes. The guy who won't give you a hand up off the floor. Yeah. How rude.
Yeah.
Something that I find interesting about the movie soundtrack and the songs, in addition to the pretty astounding fact that it has topped the billboards for weeks upon weeks in a row, is that it's not often that you see a fictional band top the billboards.
Yes.
So this got me thinking about other fictional bands, and two in particular stood out to me. Gorillaz, which is virtual 4-member band just created by one person.
That's a good point. And they're pretty good, actually.
They are very good, yes.
/ one person.
Yes. And also specifically in the movie realm, there was the Wonders in the movie That Thing You Do. Okay. And the titular song also topped the real life billboards when that movie came out. So yeah, I don't know. Fictional bands are an interesting thing to me.
Are you familiar with the movie Pop Star by any chance?
Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Yes.
Really funny movie.
Very funny.
Oh, that would be a great double feature. If you decide, listeners, if you decide to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, you can finish off the day with a very different movie.
The real action,
Yes.
real person equivalent, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah, not equivalent, but definitely has its own distinctive plot. But I can't help but think of that group because that group that does actually create all of the songs for that film, as far as I'm aware, is a single group called the Lonely Island.
Lonely Island.
That is a real band in real life, but they are a different musical group in the movie.
Yes.
And, I'm pretty sure that soundtrack also fared very well.
A lot of parallels there. I hadn't even considered that. Yeah.
And I personally like the soundtrack a lot.
Yeah.
So
props to Lonely Island.
Yeah. Can't help but think of that.
Speaking of songs, did you have a favorite song in this movie?
Okay, true. I guess this has to be a true confession.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so even though I said, oh yeah, I'm not like a pop kind of popophile, I actually found that several of the songs were like catchy enough for me to think about them afterward, including the very first boy band song, My Little Soda Pop. I'm like, that's kind of catchy.
I agree. I'm ashamed to say I also think Soda Pop is quite catchy.
And Golden was great.
Golden is so good.
Really good, and yeah, I mean, even though I don't like the negative lyrics of Takedown, it's clearly still also a catchy song. Yeah. So I just gotta say, I do think overall, and that is something I thought to myself when prepping for this episode and taking notes to myself, is that on the whole, the soundtrack is probably quite good. Like, I haven't actually listened to the soundtrack separate from the movie yet, song after song in sequence. But I think that's one of the definite primary reasons that it is still so successful today, months and months after the movie was released, right? So
I have, and I will just say they make for really good workout music because they're very upbeat, very, fast paced. So good workout music.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will have to, yes, I will take that recommendation to my own workout session. So
pretend like you're beating up demons while you're doing it.
Okay. The power of visualization.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, well, that's going to do it for our discussion of K-pop Demon Hunters. Now it's time to move on to the game and find out who won. First was your guess, Chekhov's Ramen. I love this guess. If it were up to me, if I were making this movie, I absolutely would have had this come back.
Yay.
Sadly, it did not, so I'm taking away points for that one.
It was just like the best form of digital product placement.
It was like precog product placement.
Yeah, preconceived,
preemptive product placement.
Right.
The products came from the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Next was Chekhov's 4-stringed guitar. Also not a thing, sadly.
Yeah, that was kind of sad.
Come on, movie.
I feel like, it's kind of obvious to make that more of a Kubo and the 2 strings inspired trope there, but
they could have had it transform into a more literal weapon of some kind. Yeah, there was a lot of potential there.
And just overall, in general, I think it is interesting that the character Gino, was introduced as basically like a demon who plays that instrument, but that was literally the only time we ever saw him actually play an instrument in the film, as far as I recall. Correct me if
I think you're right.
You think I'm wrong about that. And so it's kind of like, oh, come on.
Yeah. The next guess was mine, Chekhov's flower pot. Also did not have a payoff.
Yeah, but great guess.
Had a little bit of a callback, no payoff though.
Great guess,
sadly.
though. I love it. I love the creativity behind it.
Oh, thanks. The next guess was yours, Chekhov's demon fighting song. So I have to say congratulations. We did get one right in this episode.
We'll share the points.
No. It's all you. I'm just glad that one of us got something right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, this song, This Is What It Sounds Like, absolutely a demon fighting song. All the fans sang along, and it was through the power of all their fans joining them in harmony that they were finally able to defeat Guima.
Yeah, and it was like a positive song, which is awesome. So I love that.
Good finale to the movie.
Yeah.
And finally, Chekhov's signing pen did not have a payoff.
With magical invisible ink.
Again, a lot of potential. You could stab a demon in the eye with a pen quite easily.
Squirt the demon with the magical ink.
Okay,
there is so much potential there.
We're pitching ideas for the sequel to the movie makers, right? Gotta have the ramen come back. Gotta have the pen come back.
Gotta have the flower pot. Gotta have the flower pot.
Oh, yes, definitely the flower pot.
And I would be totally okay if that magical tiger came back for some, some pivotal moment.
There could be a sequel that's just the adventures of Sussy and Derpy.
Oh, yes. I love it. That's great. That's a great idea. I will watch that. And we can do another episode about
it. Yeah. All right. If you'll give me just a moment to calculate the points. Beep, boop, beep. Okay. I had a grand total of -1 points. And Alexandra, you also had -1 points.
I believe it. And I'm okay with that.
But the rule of the podcast is, in the case of a tie, the win goes to the guest. And also, I feel like you're the one who deserves it because you did have the one correct guess in the whole episode. So congratulations, Alexandra. You are our winner.
Oh, Meg. Well, I will share the victory with you. I really want to share. I love sharing. So
should we sing a song together?
Yeah. My little soda pop.
I wish I could make that pop sound, the cheek pop noise. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Just imagine it, audience. I would have done it here if I could. Alexandra, I would love to have you on again sometime, even if it's not for the sequel to K-Pop Demon.
Well, thank you, Meg. It's such an honor to be here with you. And just an additional plug for Meg, actually.
Oh, yes.
Your podcast is awesome.
Oh.
And anyone listening to this episode, if you haven't heard the others, check them out because they're all great.
I did not pay her to say that.
No, she did not. I'm actually not receiving any monetary compensation for this. Just fun in my heart, which is more rewarding. So
the power of friendship. Well, speaking of plugging stuff, in the meantime, where can listeners find you online, if anywhere?
Yeah, so if you want, you can check out my business. It's kakapoconsulting.com, all K's there. And I think Meg will provide a link to that in the show notes. But
I absolutely will. Please look for it in the show notes. And also, listeners, thank you so much for joining me. If you could please like and subscribe on YouTube, that really helps me out and I would appreciate it. Also, let us know in the comments what your favorite song was from K-Pop Demon Hunters. And until next time, thanks again for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chekhov's Whatever. Go to chekhovswhatever.substack.com to follow along with the podcast. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app and leave a positive review. You can also find video clips and full audio episodes on YouTube, so be sure to like and subscribe at Chekhov's Whatever. And finally, you can send email to chekhovswhateverpodcast@gmail.com. All right, let's end this show with a bang.